Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me today. And today we're gonna look at how to connect an external effects module into Behringer's Xenyx Q802USB mixer that you see in front of you. Now this model does not come or include any built-in effects. That's why we're gonna use an external module. And in this case, I'm just gonna use the Behringer's FX600, which is a digital multi-effects module, but this can be any module. It could be reverb unit, delay unit, and so on. And if you want to learn about different type of audio processing for audio signals, I do have a video, and I will leave a link in the description. You can actually watch that to understand how different type of effects like reverb and delays or EQs and compression work, and where do they lie in the chain of the audio routing. So for this demonstration, I also have my dynamic microphone connected to channel 1, and that's what you're hearing now. But if you are using a condenser microphone that requires 48 volt phantom power, that's the switch that you press to give power to the microphone so it works. But for dynamic microphones, that is not required. One connection you might see here that is not relevant to your connection is this RCA output. These two RCA connections are actually going to the back of my camera, so you can actually hear exactly what the mixer is doing. So when I start demonstrating the effects, you'll be able to hear that as well. I do have a detailed video about the Xenyx Q802 USB, actually, matter of fact, few of them. And if you want to learn how the mixer works and all of its functions and options, I do recommend to watch that. Again, I will leave a card or in the link in the description. You can watch that and you come back better understanding how all of the features are on the Xenyx Q802 USB. The other connections I have here on the connector to the mixer is obviously my external effects module. I have the yellow wire connected to the FX send that is going to the input of my effects module, and the left and right stereo output from my effects module is coming in to the auxiliary stereo input at the top of the mixer as red and blue. Now if you have an effects module which is only mono output, that means you've got one cable coming out, then you can simply connect to the left, which is the blue connection here, and that will provide the balanced left and right signal into the mixer as a signal coming back. So what that means, if I don't have the red one connected, that means the blue signal will still go to the left and right equally. Of course, connection to your external effects module dependent on what module you are selecting. Some effects will actually have XLR input and XLR output, or TRS balanced or unbalanced. You need to consult the effects module manual to find out how to connect it to your mixer. And the way sending the effects work is that the red knob that we've got here labeled effects, it simply taps into the channel's audio, and depending the amount that you select, it will send out to the FX send output. And the more you turn, all of them are combined into the FX send. And then the return signal from your external effects module will come back into this auxiliary return knob. And you can adjust how much of the external module's effects signal come in to the main mix of the mixer. And another note about the effects sends, that they are post fader. That means they are after the fader. So if you turn the fader down of your channel, that means no signal will be sent out to the effects send regardless of how loud you have this set. If it's turned down, that means no signal going through. It's a sort of situation. Let's assume that you've got effects for the main vocal and you have microphone 2 as a background vocal, and you have set the levels of the signal the same amount being sent to the external effects module because they are now right in the center. But because you turn, let's say, your background vocals a little bit down, less volume than the main vocal, that means also less signal being sent out to the effects module so that you don't get louder effects of the background vocals. So I hope that makes sense, and it's quite, logical how that works. Okay, let's get some action happening. I'm just going to adjust my compression so it gets a little bit louder. What that does, as you can hear, that lower volumes will be turned up and louder volumes will also be turned down. So balances all up. The higher you turn, the louder the lower volumes will get, but at the same time will turn down louder volumes as well. So somewhere in the middle and just below the middle is a good point, and your compression LED is a good indication that it is working gently to your vocal. And if you get your vocal instead of a little bit muddy, it's too boomy like now, this microphone, instead of reaching out to the high and turning it up, that makes it too brittle. I tend to turn the low down, cut the low rather than turning up high. And if it's still a little bit too boomy, I can turn up a little bit to give that bit of air at the top end. Now my voice is less boomy, but at the same time, it's not going to create any loud feedback. It's more gentle. Of course, we've got left and right pan there as well. So let's turn the effects up. At the moment, we're still not going to hear anything because even though the signal is going to my effects module, but it's not coming back because the volume is turned down. So let's gently turn this volume up. We should be able to hear a delay ping pong left and right. That's the approach I take because now it's already gain stage and I've got a perfect level, coming up to maybe 0 dB when I get loud and so on. Having that signal, the effect signal at 0 centered when it clicks in the middle, it's a good spot to have. And then you can adjust the return of how much effect you want. So I can more effects, then I got good effects. Because again, with gain staging, if you turn it too loud, that means the signal going in, as you can see, now the blue light is flashing. It means that the signal going in is way too loud. And it's going to start distorting. And that's what we're going to hear. So I'm just turning that, as you can see, it's now getting distorted. So it's a good rule of thumb to sort of have it in the middle or just below that so that we get good signal coming out, so we get clean signal coming in as well. And I'm just going to turn a little bit more so you get a good effect of how it works. And we can turn the effects, change it, so shorter or longer. Of course, this all depends what effects you are using. And that's how you basically connect an external effects module into the Xenyx Q802 USB. Well, I hope this video helped you out. If it did, make sure you give me the thumbs up. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music, and I'll catch you in the next video.